This video is the start of my recent quest to discover my true calling and purpose, and how to make sure the things I do each day align with that calling and purpose. So if you also feel that maybe you should be doing something more with your life, or if you're not really sure of what to do with your gifts, stick around because later in this video, I'll share how I've discovered that it's actually not that difficult to discern your calling or to start living it out. But before we begin, I wanted to share a little of how I got here in the first place. We usually start to seek change as a result of unresolved tension in our lives, and that's been the case with me for the past 7 years or so. I have a great job as a teacher, which I'm very thankful for, but it's not a job to which I feel very suited, or a job in which I can exercise my gifts in a way that feels meaningful. Now, there's nothing extraordinary about me at all. I'm not exceptionally gifted, and I don't for 1 minute think the world needs me or my gifts. Except that in a mysterious way, it does. Just as the world needs you and your gifts. I was made in the image of the creator of the universe, and he made me and gave me the gifts he's given me for a specific purpose. One of the most mysterious and difficult things to grasp about God's plan for the world is that he chose to use us, his creatures, to accomplish it. That's why it's imperative that we answer his call. Only God holds the key to our self-understanding and purpose, because it was he who designed us. Os Guinness said, "The truth is not that God is finding a place for our gifts, but that God has created us and our gifts for a place of his choosing, and we'll only be ourselves when we're finally there." We humans are wired to crave a sense of significance for our lives. We want our lives to matter, to be working with purpose and direction. Without this sense of higher calling, there'll always be a feeling of emptiness and longing, no matter how successful we may appear to be. But I certainly don't regret becoming a teacher. It's taught me constraint and humility. I've had to learn to have faith in God's plan even when I don't see the sense in it. I've learned to be faithful in the things that are in front of me, even when those things don't particularly excite me. I've also learned that life isn't about achieving or accomplishing things. We're called to be salt and light in whatever circumstance we find ourselves in, and so the real work in life is loving others. I also like to think I've done some good in the process too. I really enjoy the opportunity to be involved in the lives of young people, so I'm very grateful for that privilege. But I often feel guilty that I'm wasting the gifts God has given me. And that's been one of my problems in recent years. I haven't lived very well with the tension of having a day job that doesn't perfectly align with my gifts. We live in an imperfect world, and one of the consequences of that is that most people on the planet don't have jobs that perfectly align with their gifts. It's quite a privileged thing to wish for in the first place. For most people on the planet, just staying alive and keeping their family safe is the ultimate goal. But that's not the way things are supposed to be. Each of us has a role to play in establishing God's rule on earth, and were it not for the curse of sin, we'd all be perfectly exercising our gifts in order to achieve this. It's what we were designed for. But for now, many people have a day job that pays the bills and then pursue what they consider to be their real work in their free time. The Apostle Paul was one of those. This concept of tent making is an ancient one, and it's a concept that I need to learn and to live out of. So throughout this process, I'm not looking to change careers, but learn how to apply myself to the job of teacher as best I can, while still remaining faithful to the entirety of God's call on my life. To stop neglecting some of the gifts he's given me. It isn't enough that only part of me is living for him. I want every single part of me, all that I do and all that I think, to be for him. For all that he's made me to be used as an instrument of worship for him. There can't be any disconnect between who I am and what I do. So the first question to ask myself is, who am I and why am I here? These questions of identity and purpose have to come first if we're to stand any hope of filling our days with the right sorts of things. And fortunately, every human being shares the same highest calling, so a large chunk of that question of identity is already answered for everyone. We're called to someone, not to something or somewhere. Our calling is to follow Jesus, for our lives to be to him and for him. This is our true purpose, and if we answer this call, it'll lead to a second lesser calling, which is our personal answer to God's summons. How this stuff actually works out in day-to-day life. What are the sorts of things that I, as a follower of Jesus, should be filling my days with? It's essential we keep these two callings in the correct order, that both are being answered in obedience, and that the second personal calling is a true response to the first. And here's where many people, myself included, fall down. We struggle to work out our second calling because it's unique to each individual, and God is the only person who can reveal it to us. I can't look to others for answers because God has a specific purpose which is totally unique for me. If I copy someone else or try to please someone else, I won't be fully answering his personal call to me. I'll miss out on some of what God has for me and fail to do some of the work he has for me. That's not how I want my life to play out. I'd like to stand before my Maker one day and for him to be stoked that I listened to him all the way right to the end and completed all the work he had for me. So I know my primary calling, to follow Jesus and live in communion with him. I know my primary purpose, to look and act like God in God's world on God's behalf, and to do my part in establishing his rule here on earth. But how do I discern my personal, secondary calling? I can draw on the wisdom of others who know me well, but I can't rely on that. As I said earlier, there's only one person who knows what I should be doing, and that's God himself. So of course, I need to start in prayer and learn to hear the voice of the Holy Spirit. But there are a few dangers in that. Waiting to hear the voice of the Holy Spirit can lead to inaction because we can be waiting for some obvious out of the ordinary divine communication. Whereas I know a couple of people for whom this is the norm, they pray and God answers them in a way which is often extraordinary and unmistakable. But that doesn't seem to be the norm for me or for most people. Instead, I've had to learn to listen to the stirrings in my heart when I pray and trust in the character of God. Not only is this mode of communication seemingly less exciting than the first, but it requires a different sort of faith. It takes a different kind of spiritual balls to act as a result of an inner stirring. To peg my reputation and my life on something as seemingly abstract as the whispers of the Holy Spirit is risky indeed. But it's no less reliable. It's been my experience that when I truly seek him, his firm but loving hand has never failed to protect me and draw me closer to himself. So even though I've often wished for something more concrete and radical like a sign or a vision, God knows exactly what I need and knows how best to deal with me. I just need to get on board with that and keep my trust in him. But of course, there's another side to this, and that's our heart's ability to deceive us. What if the stirrings in my heart have nothing to do with the Holy Spirit? I've certainly fallen into this trap in the past where I haven't genuinely sought his voice. I've prayed in a tokenistic way and then proceeded to go on with my own selfish plans. And this is where the wise counsel of others comes in. Find someone you trust and respect, usually someone older than you, who you can share your heart with. Whereas they usually won't be able to guide you specifically, they'll be able to ask questions which bring to light the real motivation of your heart. I can remember one time being so sure that I was following God's call, that I was on a mission for him, and then one short line from my dad brought to light what was really motivating me. And immediately it was like a balloon rapidly deflating. All the nonsense I'd filled my head with, all the things I'd deceived my mind with, just evaporated. So discerning the voice of the Holy Spirit shouldn't be done in isolation. Yes, we need to listen to Jesus and Jesus only, but if you can find someone who's further down the road than you, someone who's proven with their lives that they're completely abandoned to the will of the Father, then they'll be able to help you stay true to His voice, not other voices. Those people are an absolute gift, and they're there to help us on our way. But having discussed some of the dangers and risks of listening to the whispers of the Holy Spirit, there's nothing to fear when our heart is set on Him. Yes, we'll mess up from time to time, but we're His children. That's meant to happen. If we're lovers of the light, we'll be drawn to that light whenever it's revealed, so we don't need to worry about going off track. God's desire is always to draw us back to Himself, to lead us on so we can relax. My heart is firmly set on Him and His purposes, so I have nothing to fear. He's good, He's faithful, and He's got me. And of course, the wonderful thing is we grow up into Him. I'm still young, but not as young as I used to be. And as I grow in maturity, I can spot far more easily when my old self is trying to deceive me, when the allure of self-glory is calling my name. It's part of the natural process of growing up into Him, of increasing in wisdom and maturity. God is faithful to His promises. It's been my experience that as I remain in prayer with my heart set on Him, He's continually transforming my heart and my mind so that my will more closely resembles His will. My heart more closely resembles His heart. My thoughts more closely resemble His thoughts. And so as I get older, I can trust more and more what's in my heart because my heart is being made like His heart. When I get off track, the Good Shepherd always brings me back. So fix your eyes on Him and get on with it. One step at a time. We don't need to be scared. We don't need to understand. We just need to put one foot in front of the other while looking at Him. So as someone who lives by the Spirit, surely the way to start discerning my secondary calling is to look at the desires of my heart and my giftedness. God doesn't try and trick us. It's not as though He's got a path planned out for us and then does everything He can to try and make us take the wrong one just so He can say, sucked in, I knew you'd do that. He tries to make it easy for us. He creates us to enjoy and to be good at the things He intends us to do. We're designed to feel at peace when we're doing what we are because we're working in harmony with our Creator in fulfilling His purpose. We shouldn't be scared of the joy we feel when exercising our gifts. This may well be confirmation that we're on the right track. As Eric Liddell said, God made me fast, and when I run, I feel His pleasure. This has been my experience too. There's an indescribable peace I feel when I exercise my creative gifts for something good. It really feels as though God is smiling at me. So don't be scared of enjoying yourself while doing the things you're good at. So long as we stay in communion with Him, we can trust Him to keep us safe and to bring us back when we stray. God gave me the gifts and desires of my heart on purpose. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't to trick me. He wants to take my desires and my gifts, purify them, and use them to build His kingdom. God has a job vacancy that only I can fill, and He gave me everything I need in order to fill it. The only question is, will I come to the party? So I need to start looking at the things I enjoy and the things I'm good at. He gave me an imagination. He gave me the ability to communicate with an audience. He gave me the ability to communicate emotion through music. He gave me patience. He gave me a mind that can think. He gave me the ability to write. So I need to start here with these gifts He's given me. I need to start exercising these gifts because that's who He made me to be, and He knew what He was doing. But what exactly should this look like? One thing to keep in mind is that I have a family and a mortgage. So my calling is much further reaching now than it would have been in my early 20s. The decision to get married and start a family means that being a good husband and father now comes before any job or project or desire I may have. I can't claim to be a follower of Jesus if I'm neglecting my family under the pretense of following God's call. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So is there a way that I can start to habitually exercise my gifts while not neglecting all the other things that I need to put first? In short, yes. And that's what we'll be exploring in these videos over the coming months. After making a few changes to my daily habits, I feel like I'm now more working harmoniously with my Creator. Like one day discovering the true work for which a tool was designed. I'm excited to share this journey with you, and I hope you'll join me in the next video. Child of my love, fear not the unknown morrow. Dread not the new demand life makes of thee. Thine ignorance doth hold no cause for sorrow, for what thou knowest not is known to me. Thou canst not see today the hidden meaning of my command, but thou the light shall gain. Walk on in faith, upon my promise leaning, and as thou goest, all shall be made plain. One step thou seest, then go forward boldly. One step is far enough for faith to see. Take that, and thy next duty shall be told thee. For step by step, thy God is leading thee. Stand not in fear thine adversaries counting. Dare every peril save to disobey. Thou shalt march on, each obstacle surmounting, for I the strong shall open up the way. Therefore go gladly to the task assigned thee, having my promise, needing nothing more than just to know wherever the future find thee, in all thy journeying I go before.